Hello, this is D and I'm back with another video. For over a year we've heard about Microsoft's strategy of releasing two consoles next generation. We all knew of the Xbox Scarlett, but many doubted the validity of the Xbox Lockhart. Insiders reported last summer that Microsoft had cancelled the Lockhart device, but Tom Warren has announced that the Xbox Lockhart is indeed in development and targeting 1440p 60 frames per second. Now this once again proves that these insiders' information is not accurate, and I have to point out that these are the same insiders claiming that the PlayStation 5 is more powerful than the Xbox Scarlett and that the dev kits are much further ahead. Tom Warren also fact-checked these insiders on those claims, and I covered that in a previous video. Phil Spencer announced that he has the Xbox Scarlett in his home, which he's using to game on and interact with the fans, contradicting the latest insider reports. Now how could this be possible if Microsoft was so far behind in development with the Xbox Scarlett? Now the evidence is overwhelming that these insiders are clueless. Now some gamers are trying to downplay and spin the latest news, some are just confused about how Phil has a Scarlett yet the dev kit is not final. I want to clarify that the dev kit is not final hardware of Scarlett in its current form, and the reason being that tweaks are still being made and to prevent specs from leaking out. Some might have forgotten that last generation Sony found out about the Xbox One memory and added more RAM at the last minute. Microsoft does not want a repeat of this situation. Some will also say Phil has Scarlett, so this means everything is final. I do believe that the system targeted specs are final at this point. However, with 12 months to go before launch, they will be tweaking different areas of the console, such as the GPU frequencies and the CPU clock speeds. Last generation, the Xbox One CPU received a last-minute overclock, and as I mentioned, Sony added more RAM to the PlayStation 4. I think options are always a good thing, and with Xbox Lockhart rumored to be around $300, this is a perfect price point. Now some detractors will say this is no better than the PlayStation 4 Pro or the Xbox One X, and I disagree with this notion. First, the Xbox One X doesn't do native 4K on every game. The Xbox One X is mostly a 30 frames per second console. A PlayStation 4 Pro is a 1440p machine, with some games getting up to 1660p or some weird resolution upscaled or checkerboarded to 4K. But once again, this console targets 30 frames per second. 1440p 60 frames per second already makes it better than both consoles, not to mention that it will bring a next generation GPU, CPU, and solid state drive. Yes, the Scarlett will be more powerful and capable at 4K 60, but will also cost more. I believe this to be a sound strategy, allowing gamers on a smaller budget to enjoy next generation games. For players like myself, Microsoft also will have the Xbox Scarlett, delivering 4K 60 and ray tracing. Gamers may also believe that the Xbox Lockhart will hold Scarlett back, and I hear this misinformation all the time. Now this is not the case, as developers have already refuted these claims, and once the consoles jumped to x86, they essentially became PCs as they run the same architecture. On PC, whether you have a 1060 or a 2080 Ti, the game scales to the hardware. Xbox consoles will be the same going forward. I hear gamers talking about this all the time, and this information is just flat out wrong. The takeaway is that Xbox Scarlett is on schedule and the Xbox Lockhart is still in development, and gamers will have more options next generation. With Phil Spencer having a Scarlett at home, I would also expect that we'll hear about the full specifications of Scarlett sooner than later. Anyways, I want to know what you guys think about the Xbox Lockhart, and if next generation there will be a market for 1440p 60 frames per second. Let me know in the comment section down below, and like I usually say, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one.